Hey, welcome back. My name is Dino. This video is on should Pierre Poilievre stay on as conservative leader. I'm going to go first over the positives and why he should stay on, and then go over the negatives, and you would ideally sort of compare the two. From this, I'm trying to be as non-partisan as possible. I'm just trying to get some various information I've gleaned from various websites and put them here together for you to make your own decision. One is the 2025 election results. Um, this has been largely agreed to. The Conservative Party of Canada has had the best electoral results since 1988 when Stephen Harper won. One huge positive is that there was over 8 million votes cast for the Conservative Party in total. That's the most ever. Great sign. Also, there's 143 seats won. That is the most since 1988. From this, you could argue that based on the seat count, this is the best Conservative results for a while. That's a positive. Also, kind of going more internally, there's also internal factors. That's more of an external across Canada factor. This is more internal to the Conservative Party specifically. In terms of the party vote, when there was a 2022 Conservative leadership race, Mr. Poilievre won over 68% of the vote. The way that this traditionally goes, this is a pretty high majority of voters, and it was a first round win. From this, Pierre had a strong win in recent leadership race. So not only did he win, he won handily, and it's relatively recent. So those are all good signs. In terms of party control, there has been vocal support since the recent election that just finished, a couple days ago, from Andrew Scheer, Jason Kenney, James Moore, and others who vocally support Poilievre. From this, there are public statements from major party leaders who are supportive of Mr. Poilievre keeping control. So that's a good sign again for him. Yeah, if there's a lot of external dissent, that would be, of course, a bad sign. In terms of rivals, going back to the 2022 Conservative Party leadership vote, the leadership hopefuls, I won't include Jean Charest because he doesn't seem to be a current threat, given that he's kind of moved away from the party, it seems, at least for the short term. Leslyn Lewis, Roman Baber, and Scott Aitchison, they each had less than 10% of the 2022 party leadership vote. That's in comparison to Mr. Poilievre, who had over 68%. So they had a distant sort of support for being a leader. From this, even if there was dissent, at least at the moment, there is no clear rival for the Conservative leadership party. So even if, again, there was some dissent and it got to, it sort of accumulated over time, at least at the moment, there's no clear rival. And finally, in terms of pros, control of the base. This is like the main really heavy supporters of a party. From what has been displayed so far, especially this is probably shown best by the really large rallies for Mr. Poilievre, there's been great appeal with the base voters, especially in more of the prairie provinces like Alberta, Saskatchewan, and even Manitoba, as well as again, the rallies have been pretty big across the country, but the prairies have mainly been a really big base voter turnout for the Conservatives in the 2025 election. From this, with these really strong vocal supporters, it would be really difficult for the Conservative Party to remove Mr. Poilievre without antagonizing this vocal core. I mean, they could do it, but a lot of people would be quite unhappy. These are some of the arguments against Poilievre. This is I talked about 2025 election for the Conservatives. Now talk a little bit about the Liberal side. This slide should be red, I guess, but let's just go with it. The Liberal Party had the best electoral results since 2015. That would be, I believe that was Justin Trudeau's first election win. They won almost 8.5 million votes across the country. That's the most ever for the Liberal Party, which is more than the Conservatives. Also, they won 169 seats, which is a little bit below the majority level. I believe it's 172. This is again the most since 2015. and that's more than the 143 for the Conservatives. From this, Liberals had the best party results since 2015. The Conservatives had their best results since 2008. Given those two facts, the amount that the Liberals had that support is just more than the Conservatives. Preferred PM. This is like the Ipsos and a number of other polling companies did polling about sort of more softer ideas, like qualitative ideas about what a prime minister should be. In a number of these ones, these are the ones that are the largest, and this is from a March 30th, 2025 poll, so right before the election. In terms of managing tough economic times, they prefer Carney by about 15 points. In terms of temperament and maturity to be the prime minister, plus 14 points. To represent Canada on the world stage, again Carney, plus 13. And stand up to President Trump, plus 12. From this, it appears, at least as of the end of March, like relatively recently, Mark Carney be the preferred PM over Poilievre across many issues, and many are by like double-digit amounts. So that's something that's at least currently favoring Carney. And in terms of ratings award, this is also a little bit problematic. As I'm sure if you're a Canadian politics fan, junkie, or just a regular, if you just were even barely paying attention to the results, you probably found out that Mr. Poilievre lost his own Carleton seat to Liberal Bruce Fanjoy. He spent the last, the last year or two going across the riding and glad handing, and he apparently has a big base himself in that area. So he lost that seat, but he's very likely to win over the Battle River Crowfoot riding in Alberta, which was previously won by MP-elect Damien Carrick since 2019. So it's long been a Conservative a stronghold. So from this, you could say, depending on what your political leaning is, that there's at least a short-term efficacy and legitimacy because Mr. Poilievre is not currently in the House, and then all House of Commons. And also, it takes a little bit of luster away from his leadership. So say if he won his seat handily like Mark Carney did, it would sort of show, again, just stronger across-the-board support. So let me summarize all these competing interests. In terms of the 2025 election, both parties had strong results. Both parties, major parties being the Conservatives and the Liberals. In terms of the vote totals for the 2022 leadership race, the current control of the party and any rivals, there appears to be, at least at the moment, a limited internal party threats to Mr. Poilievre, which will be good for him. And due probably most likely from seeing the rallies he's had, his base is very strongly in support of him. There's a strong and vocal grassroots support. However, in contrast to that, in terms of preferences to be prime minister across a number of metrics, Canadian voters currently prefer Mark Carney across many metrics, like standing up to Trump, preferred PM on the world stage, etc., etc. From all of this, I had to still, if I did look at my crystal ball, which I don't have, but if I did have a crystal ball, I would most likely think that at least in the short term, but probably in the mid to long term, Mr. Poilievre should be able to maintain his control over the Conservative Party. However, and again, the Conservatives did quite well. His appeal to his base, which is very strong, and I think it's his very strong personality, that appeal to his base, which they find very appealing, has yet to translate fully countrywide. So obviously the Conservative Party and Mr. Poilievre did quite well in 2025, especially, again, across the country. But the strong appeal that he has to his base, some of those same characteristics seem to antagonize a number of other voters, hence the Liberal majority and the fact that they have more seats in the House of Commons as of this moment. That is, and I hope you come to your own conclusion. What do you think Mr. Poilievre should stay as Conservative leader, or should they be switched to someone else when the leadership review comes because they've lost? Regardless, thanks for watching. Please feel free to like this video if you like it. Please feel free to comment on any thoughts about whether you think Mr. Poilievre should stay or go. And then finally, if you like this type of video, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. As always, thanks for watching.